Oh, hey, Carole effin Baskin. Sorry, I couldn't even resist. I couldn't even wait. I couldn't even do a proper introduction. I just had to go right out there and just talk about Carole effin Baskin. That's my attempt at a Joe Exotic. Welcome to tonight's stream. I hope everybody had a good Halloween. I had a great Halloween. For the most part, it was good. It's great. We did some trick or treating. Yesterday was Sam Hain. Happy Sam Hain. We released our final Sam Hain episode in our listening series. Go check it out. It is live now. If you prefer your videos ad free, you can also join the Patreon because there's no ads in the Patreon. Um, so tonight we have a little beef. Beef. Who's seen that movie, A Score to Settle? It's a Nicolas Cage direct TV. Beef? Beef? Go check that out. That is one of the best Nicolas Cage exclamations, performances, whatever you want to call it, in the history of Nicolas Cagedom. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, he was supposed to play the Tiger King in a series for Amazon, and they scrapped it because it was sort of flavor of the month. They decided that no one would be interested in a Tiger King series, and I think they're kind of right. I don't listen. We're not here to revel in Tiger King. Okay, the moment is past. It was hot. It was really hot for the month of April, March or April of 2020. It was Tiger King mania. It was like just all anybody could talk about with good reason. For good reason. Maybe it was, yeah, it was March. It was March. Maybe it was even February. I don't know. But it was popular, man. Like all anybody could talk about. Tiger King this and Tiger King that. Joe Exotic, free Joe Exotic. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was on the bandwagon as well. To me, it was one of the most riveting pieces of television that I had seen in some time. I thoroughly enjoyed the Tiger King show. You know, what makes Tiger King so successful, it's not just that there was a pandemic going on, everybody needed something to watch. It's not just that the story was riveting and fascinating. There were so many crazy facets to it, and just like ins and outs and ups and downs that made you just hang on to every word that was being said. But it was also the editing, the storytelling of the filmmakers, the way that they put it all together, the way that they slowly revealed layers. I finally understood for the first time why people were so addicted to the Serial podcast. As a matter of fact, Only Murderers in the Building, great show starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Really, really fun show. Watch that on Hulu right now. Made me think of the true crime thing because that's what kind of what Tiger King is. It's not only is it a true crime, it's like a peek into this crazy world of exotic animals and the addiction. That was one of my big takeaways is that people get addicted to big cats or to exotic wildlife. It does something to them. It triggers dopamine centers within the brain and causes people to do really crazy things. People like, live life the way that they do in this Tiger King series in a variety of ways, from being in kind of like a sex cult to being what's going on, Droid? Welcome to the stream tonight. To being to getting your arm ripped off by a tiger and being totally cool with it, or eating rotten meat, or opening up a pizza place that serves rotten meat pizza. I mean, it's nuts, man. And you gotta hand it to Joe Exotic that he is like this. He's like this charismatic guy who can convince people to do anything. He can convince straight men to marry him and engage in this polygamous marriage, all for meth. That was very hinted to. Here's the thing about Joe Exotic. There was a lot of us at the time were like, free Joe Exotic, or Joe Exotic, did nothing wrong. Joe Exotic is a bad dude. As a matter of fact, everybody in these shows are bad dudes. Before we get there, though, before we get to the whole bad thing, I'm going to get back to that. Let's look at the piece, the beef. What is the beef? What is the drama that we have here tonight? This is from Deadline. It's by Dominic Pattern at Deadline, okay? Tiger King star Carole Baskin. Carole Baskin loses bid to halt Netflix's release of odious sequel series for now. Wow, odious. What a word. What does odious even mean? What does it mean? Let's look it up. Odious means extremely unpleasant, repulsive. Great thesaurus word, I would say. All right, before we read the update, because this was updated, let's read what was originally posted at 3:16 p.m. Sometimes the news updates so quickly, and then you have to do some sort of update to the article. Here's what it says. If you have any doubt whether there was going to be drama galore out of Tiger King 2, big cat rescue boss Carole Baskin has taken a legal bite out of Netflix more than 2 weeks before the sequel series debut. Now, here's the thing, too. Yes, that's right. Tiger King 2. Do we need a Tiger King 2? That's the big question that I'm asking myself. I think that everything that you need to say about Tiger King could fit in those 7 episodes. It's a 7 episode miniseries. It unravels perfectly. It ends with Joe Exotic in jail. What else do we need? What else are you going to tell us? Do they have hours and hours and hours of footage? Yes, when you're shooting a documentary, there's hours and hours and hours of footage you got to sift through. Of that 7 hours, there's probably 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 hours. They say, what is it that they say? It's like a ratio of like 100 to 1 or something. For every 100 hours you shoot, that you're going to get 1 hour of footage on screen. Well, Droid says that he has yet to see Tiger King. Sure did hear about it, though. I will tell you, you may want to avoid this stream then, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it. I already did. As we find out, Carole Baskin might have murdered her husband. Doc Antle heads up an SEX cult. He's like a crazy, creepy weirdo who rides on elephants and convinces girls to sleep with him because he has lots of cats. And also is responsible for euthanizing those cats. Yeah, that's right. He kills the tigers when they get too big to handle. That's the problem. Thank you, Droid. I'm glad to hear that. When they get too big to handle, he kills the goddamn tigers. And Joe Exotic killed tigers too, from what I remember. Because, by the way, I have not rewatched or revisited this at all. And there's this whole thing. Carole sues Joe, and she gets control of the zoo. And then that guy Jeff takes over it, not me. Some other guy named Jeff takes over, who always wears a hat just like me, but he does it because he's bald. I am losing a little bit of the hair in the front of my head, but that is not why I wear the hat. It's part of my panache. That's why I do it. So, but do we need a Tiger King 2? No. Why? What's the point? I just don't see it. Am I going to watch it? Yeah, because I'm curious. I want to know. If anything, we'll probably get some deleted scenes or something. In a curt complaint filed in federal court in Florida on Monday, Baskin and her husband is he's pretty funny. He's like, you know who wears the pants in that relationship. Let's put it that way. Not that he should rightfully wear the pants. I'm just saying who wears the pants. It's her. She wears the pants. Baskin and her husband are aiming to shut down the streamer and series directors Rebecca Chocklin and Eric Good's Royal Good Productions from launching the 5-episode Tiger King 2, as is on November 17th. Essentially, the animal rights advocacy couple. So what she has big cat rescue, and she's against all these zoos. That's what it is. These tiger zoos, these exotic zoos, they shouldn't exist. They're not sustainable. They don't feed the tigers well. It's not a good environment for the tigers. They're exploited animals, and she's kind of there to rescue, except she doesn't pay people. Carole Baskin doesn't pay anybody. She banks on, remember how I said it was like, it's like an addiction. It's like a big cat addiction. She has people that volunteer to work for her for free. So she sits on millions of dollars. She's not paying people. Their payment is just getting to be around these cats. And they're not, are they properly trained and qualified? Who knows? Who knows, man? I think Carole Baskin is just as bad as the rest of them. I just want to put that out there. I think she's rotten to the core as well. Okay? So let's continue on. Essentially, the animal rights. I put animal rights because I think she's just in there with the rest of them. Couple, and she was almost killed by Joe Exotic because she sued Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic lost his farm because of her. She was like, that Carole Baskin, she's the root and tootin' of all my evils. But Joe Exotic, he's a scumbag too. Essentially, the animal rights advocacy couple says Netflix and the filmmakers simply have no right to use any of the footage left over from 2020's hugely successful and Emmy nominated Tiger King Murder, Mayhem, and Madness under the deal they inked back in 2016 and again in 2018. Period. She didn't really understand she didn't really understand what was going on, or she thought it was for something else. Who knows what she knew or did not know? Who truly knows? I don't know. I think it's I don't think you can say what she was or was not a part of in that sort of situation. Defendants' unauthorized use of film footage of the Baskins and Big Cat Rescue secured by Royal Good Productions under the appearance releases will cause the Baskins irreparable injury for which the Baskins have no adequate remedy at law, said the suit filed by Tampa firm Johnson Pope Boker, Rupel and Burns. That's a lot of partners. You got 5 partners on that one LLP. It seeks an injunction, costs, and more. I mean, she is so Carole Baskin. She's greedy too. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Carole Baskin's getting like demonized and shamed on." I disagree, man. I think she is just like I said. I think she's her own. She's her own devil in disguise. Truly. There was already friction between the streamer and the directors and the couple over the Baskins contention reiterated today that Tiger King 1 was particularly harsh and unfair in its depiction of the Baskins and Big Cat Rescue. They devoted a whole episode to the disappearance of her former husband, from which she gets all of her money, and the overarching implication that Baskin was involved in the disappearance of her first husband in 1997. Now it's a matter of the small print. The jury sinking complaint. Hi, all you cool cats. It's me, Carol. The jury sinking complaint filed Monday states, understanding that the appearance releases limited Royal Good Productions use of the footage of the Baskins and Big Cat Rescue to a single initial documentary motion picture. The Baskins believe that any sequel, though odious, would not include any of their footage. And let's be clear: once the subject of an attempted murder move, sorry, and let's be clear, once the subject of an attempted murder moved by the now imprisoned Joe Exotic, Carole Baskin is all over the Tiger King 2 trailer that dropped last week. That's true. There is a lot of Carole Baskin in that trailer. Or as Howard Baskin put it in a statement to Deadline this afternoon, while we cannot stop Netflix and the Royal Good Productions from producing lowbrow, salacious, and sensational programming, perfect way to describe what Netflix is doing. But is it delicious? Absolutely. We do believe that we have the right to control the footage filmed of us under false pretenses. We like to believe that most Americans will agree that we should be entitled to protecting our reputations in this matter and hold entertainment giants to their word. Netflix had no comment on the latest legal dust up, spokesperson told Deadline. As the days count down to Tiger King 2 launch, the streamer will have to reply in court sooner or later. So now that was what was initially published. So they tried to stop. Basically, they shot a whole bunch of footage under what they claim are false pretenses. Then Tiger King comes out. They're super unhappy about it. And of course, they got to have more Carole Baskin. So even though, yeah, I mean, it feels the thing is, it's lowbrow, salacious, you know, content, drivel, dreck. that Netflix is trying to capitalize on. They're trying so hard to squeeze blood from a stone. They're trying to get a second bite of the apple, as we all are. I can appreciate that in its own way. And the Baskins are not happy about it. But at the same time, they filmed the footage, they signed a release, yada yada yada. Here's the update at 11:55 p.m. Netflix won't have to worry about Carole Baskin and her just filed contract lawsuit pulling the plug on the November 17th launch of Tiger King 2, at least not for now. Hear that, folks. We don't have to worry. We are on schedule to watch the follow-up of Tiger King, whatever it may be, whatever blood may be squeezed from the stone. While the court understands the Baskins' frustration, it does not appear that the inclusion of the defendant's footage of the Baskins will cause any immediate harm that cannot be compensated with monetary damages, said Judge Virginia M. Hernandez Covington in a shortish order late Monday. Let's take that again. So it will not cause any immediate harm that cannot be so it's still saying that Netflix is probably going to have to pay out through the nose to the Baskins in some way, shape, or form, but that the idea that they have to have an injunction to prevent it from coming out at all. So clearly there's stuff in there that they don't want to see. Carole doesn't want anybody to see. Carole, I mean, the fact that Netflix even dug up the skeleton of her husband probably pissed off Carole Baskin. And Carole Baskin is not someone you want to piss off at all. As Joe Exotic will tell you. Could you just imagine Nicolas Cage's Joe Exotic? It would win awards in that in that voice. That voice. That boy had golden nuggets. What he's talking about is actually it's really sad because his husband accidentally ended himself, and it's really sad because I mean it's tragic. Young man cut down in the prime of his life, but when Joe Exotic is trying to memorialize him at his funeral, while the guy's own mother, his mother-in-law, in front of his mother, he goes, "That boy had golden nuggets." I love that boy's golden nuggets. I love it. I love it, man. I loved their love. I did. Although it was dark, man. It was dark because those were men who were, I mean, on some level, they some sort of fluid in their sexuality to be with Joe, but they were really there. They were there for drugs. They were not there for love. Let's put it that way. Both of them, both of the husbands, which kind of comes out later in the series very obviously that Joe Exotic is plying his boy toys with drugs to keep them satiated so that he can have his way with them and whatnot in their I mean you see it. It's one of those show don't tell. They Netflix and the filmmakers, they didn't say anything. They just showed us the reality situation. And anybody, I don't care, it doesn't matter that what kind of relationship it is. If you are keeping someone in a relationship with you by and using drugs to do it, that is not cool. I'm so glad that I saved your life. I don't know how I did that, but it makes me really happy. I'm screenshotting this right now. Saved your life, sure. Glad I could help. Glad I could help. He said it not once, he said it twice. I'll do it that one instead. Oh, wait. I gotta. It's pretty funny. It's not funny. It's serious. It's good. Um. So where was I'm sorry. I got lost here in my malaise. I just sort of went over it. So basically, the courts are saying that they could get money from Netflix, and Netflix has all the money in the world, so I don't think. I mean, but in terms of them blocking it, they're not going to do it. Importantly, the court merely finds the Baskins are not entitled to the extraordinary remedy of a temporary restraining order, which would be entered before defendants have had an adequate opportunity to respond, the Tampa based judge added. The court takes no position on whether the Baskins will be able to establish entitlement to a preliminary injunction. An injunction is where you're trying to like block something legally. We know Bam did this with, or is trying to do this with Jackass 4, as we previously covered. Check out that beef as well. Part of our beef series. That's what we do. The one time that we roll in the mud here, really roll in the mud, when we're not talking trash about former members of the Misfits 95, is we focus on beefs. Beefs are fun. They're interesting to sort of look at. Um, what the judge does take a position on is not pulling the plug on the jury seeking complaint from Carole Baskin and Howard Baskin. To the extent it seeks a preliminary injunction, the motion is referred to the Honorable Thomas G. Wilson, United States Magistrate Judge, for an evidentiary hearing and the issue of a report and recommendation. So while the 5-episode Tiger King 2 from directors Rebecca Chalkin and Eric Good will almost certainly launch in just over 2 weeks, the Baskins lawsuit is just beginning. So they're gonna keep going at it, and they're gonna want to get their money for their lawyers too. You better believe Carole Baskin, she doesn't like spending money on stuff, as you know. I mean, that was a real, I'll tell you, the fact that Carole Baskin doesn't pay her, or has volunteers and doesn't pay people to work for her, really says a lot to me. So here's the thing. Like I said, I loved Tiger King, but everybody in the show is a bad person. They're all bad people. They all do really bad stuff, and they all deserve whatever punishment or comeuppance or karma comes to them. Joe Exotic deserves to be in jail for what he did to those tigers. He deserves to be in jail for murdering tigers. He deserves, what's going on, Chris? He deserves to, some sort of retribution for, I mean, look, he put guns in his husband's hand and drugs, and you can't say that Joe Exotic specifically is responsible for his husband ending his life, but he most certainly, was a contributing factor in some way, shape, or form that sort of led to like the toxic place. The toxic place. What's going on, crazy, crazy white boys in the house as well? Um, the toxic environment that Joe Exotic created led to the downfall of his early late husband, I would say. And then a month later, what does Joe do? He remarries. He marries another young cub, or whatever you call him, otter, cub thing, whatever. And, completely forgets about his husband who ended himself. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And then you got this guy, Doc Antel, who's just Ankle Antel. He's just, I mean, this guy is such a creep. Such a creep. They should rename this show Tiger Creep. Does that mean that it's not interesting to watch? Oh my God, it's fascinating. I'm riveted the whole time I'm watching it, as they're unfolding. Now, here's what I want to know. Is Tiger King 2 going to have the same sort of storytelling energy and reveal? Because that's the thing. Every 15 minutes, there's some new revelation of information that just takes the story to the next level and makes it so much crazier than it was before. We keep going to new heights that we just couldn't possibly imagine. You're kind of going like, how can it get any crazier than it already has? And it finds a way to do it. I'm trying to find what I wrote about Tiger King. Let's see. Back when I used to just write stuff, you just write stuff and give it away. Let's see if I can find something. We got shows up the wazoo this week, people. We got Streaming Evil Live tomorrow. We've got whatchamacallit tonight, not tonight, on Thursday. We got a thing. Trying to find this. Trying to find this. Oh my God. Yes, we talked about Tiger King. That's right. My friend Steven, he hated Tiger King. Was not a fan. Um, I'm I'm not seeing it. Damn. Dang. I can't find it. It's Carole Baskin's fault. Good for you. Good for you not watching the show. Well, listen, it's great entertainment. Look, again, like I said, we all love a little junk food. It's junk. That's what it is. It's just junk. You know what I mean? It's you're watching you're watching like junk food that rots your teeth. That's what it is, man. It's not something that you want to be, say, proud of that you're watching, but you watch it anyway. You know, I love I love the song Some Weird Sin by Iggy Pop. And you know what that song's about? Do you know what that song's about? That song, it's this is what Iggy has said on it. He says it's about rolling around in the mud. That's what it's about. And sometimes you just need to roll around in the mud with some weird sin. And that's kind of like what it is, man. Watching Tiger King, you just gotta roll around in the mud and just sort of enjoy, a nice little guilty pleasure, I guess. That's what I think, at least. You know? I think that's it. I think that's it. I can't find it. Damn, that sucks. I thought I might find it. Yeah, that's true. Rue is right. On November 6th, we have a big event happening at the Lodi VFW. Check it out. We're going to have a good friggin' time. We're going to be friggin' in the riggin', that's for sure. That's a naughty song right there. Um, hmm. What else can I say about the Tiger King? I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm catching up on TV series right now because I spent all of October just going on and on and on with horror films. I'm taking a break from that. Keep your eyes peeled for some more special videos in addition to all the shows that we do here on the channel. Oh, guys, you know what? It's done. It's done. I hate to end it, but this was a short one tonight. We just were covering Tiger King 2. Just as everybody gets cooking. Got to remember that. About a half hour. That's when everybody starts piling in. It is what it is. It is what it is. Um, that's what I was wondering Wednesday. Why is there a season 2 of Tiger King? There just is, man. There just is. I don't I don't know. I really, really don't know. I don't think it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense. Why do we need why do we need a second season of Tiger King? That's what I should have titled this video. Why do we need a second season of Tiger King? Maybe I'm going to change it, actually. I think that's good. I think that's good. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tune in, Streaming Evil Live show. I have my special guest, Robbie Bloodshed. We are going to be talking about Danzig Sings Elvis. He was at both shows. We're going to talk about that. So make sure that you tune in. In the meantime, peace and hair.